It's not even making the academic or intellectual far right happy. Who is actually going to carry this thing for the next 3 years?
I find it interesting because, as someone who has very little in common sort of political views with Curtis Yarvin, but is, broadly someone who likes the idea of smaller and leaner government. I was initially at least very cautiously hopeful that maybe DOGE would end up doing things that I approved of. And very quickly was pretty appalled at what they were doing. But I think this is an interesting data point here, because what you're seeing is cases of people who it seems like in principle are the political constituents, as you say, for the kind of thing DOGE claims to be doing, looking at the actual execution and going, "Ooh, no, I'm not sure I support this," even if on paper the idea is something I might have been in favor of.
Yeah, and to put a really fine point on it, so you, fair listener, don't need to actually go back to Curtis Yarvin's interviews that were put out at the beginning of the administration that really conceptualized what he wanted the government to do. Is Curtis Yarvin and his ilk are actually massive fans of FDR. Not in his political ideology, but in his process. That very quickly, for all kinds of reasons we are not going to get into on a news roundup, keep listening to the Watchcats podcast for that analysis, FDR functioned like a true executive, sometimes often borderline dictator of the federal government. And as a result, was able to push through and rough trod over Congress on multiple different issues, establishing programs and policies that fundamentally radically transformed the federal government into a thing that could not be recognized at the beginning of FDR's term. And that's what they wanted. That's the kind of executive that they wanted, except leashed to their political ideology, not necessarily an economic progressive political ideology. And that's what they're not seeing they're getting. Like, it's really easy to terminate things through executive order. Sometimes we'll see some pushback on that later in this episode. But FDR made a lot of things through executive order, and they're just not seeing that yet from DOGE and the Trump administration.